A Quiet Place.
And you said it as loud as possible. Most people whisper when they talk about this movie.
Quiet Place. In the modern horror thriller A Quiet Place, a family of 4 must navigate their lives in silence after mysterious creatures that hunt by sound threaten their survival. If they hear you, they hunt you. All right, so we both saw this movie.
Mm-hmm.
I'll let you lead this off. What did you think?
Oh, I was on the edge of my seat. I enjoyed this movie very, very much. I enjoyed it a lot. I thought the acting was cool. The way they set things up, the way the creatures were merciless. It was like, oh my, this like if you, it really did make you go. You're in the theater watching it, you go, I don't want to ruffle my popcorn too loud. They'll get me, or I'll get them killed because it was that tense, and I enjoyed it for that.
Okay. Well.
Uh-oh.
I'm normally the contrarian, or sometimes I guess, of this show, but I'm not this time. I loved this movie. I absolutely loved this movie.
Nice setup. I thought you were going to be like, well.
Oh man. Yeah, this was. I know this movie had a lot of hype that was attached to it prior to me seeing this movie.
Oh, yeah, there was.
And I was so worried about it letting me down, and it did not.
Oh, it did not. Down. Everything that it promised, the trailer promised everything that this movie was and more.
This movie was 90 minutes long, and it feels like a jog. It's paced so well.
Yeah.
John Krasinski's. This isn't his first movie. This is actually his third movie. He did a movie called The Hollers, which was actually pretty good comedy, and Brief Interviews with Hideous Men is another one that's actually a pretty good movie too. But this is definitely his first big mainstream movie, and oh my gosh, he knocked it out of the park. Exactly. My thoughts. He is definitely going to be a director to look out for.
Yeah, because I was like, because the whole ASL thing, the whole mechanic of him using the whole mechanic of him being in the basement sending out static SOSs, not even beeps, just static SOSs. It was like he thought of every little detail you could think of.
Now, the thing that this family had going for it, or the advantage that this family has, is that they have a daughter who's deaf, and the actress, Millie Simmons, who's actually a deaf actress, she was amazing in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Both Noah Jupe, who is also really good, and Wonder and Suburbicon, excellent. The children actors in this movie were really good.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what the advantage that this family had was that they already knew sign language
from raising a deaf child.
Yeah, from raising a deaf child going into this. So as far as their communication, they were already there. As far as how they were going to be able to communicate in utter silence, in complete silence. I mean, literally, complete silence is what you need for this to survive in this.
Like, you don't wear shoes in this movie.
Yeah, nobody. That was the other thing that was so well thought out and well planned for this movie, was the way that they made sure that this family was able to survive in silence by walking bare feet everywhere. When they ate, they didn't eat on plates. They ate on like leaves. They ate off of like lettuce and leaves and stuff. And whenever they played their games, their game pieces were little pieces of cloth. Like, that was so.
And then when you rolled the dice, you rolled them on top of like a towel.
Yeah, everything was so well planned out. But what I was worried about going into this was the fact that you leave yourself vulnerable as far as a storytelling trope to jump scares. But every jump scare, there were some jump scares, but they paid off. Every single one of them paid off. You knew anytime that there was a slight chance of a jump scare, that monster's going to be somewhere around the corner. And then the monster in this movie was, because Industrial Light and Magic, I think, is the name of the studio that did the monster animation, is so real. I mean, this is Michael Bay produced, so you know that the special effects is going to be top notch. And so the animate, or the way that they brought this monster to life, it kind of at first made me think of Venom. Did you get Venom vibes at all when you first saw him?
No, when I first saw the creature, I actually thought more of the Demogorgon from Stranger Things.
Demogorgon. I had a little bit of a Demogorgon-ish, but I thought more of the like this was like a rejected Venom, but he looked not rejected in a bad way.
What you mean,
just,
the host rejected?
Yes, yes.
And it was mad.
Yes,
the symbiote was acting alone. I know what you meant. Yeah.
But my gosh, but and in a lot of these movies, and where you have the two main leads in the movie, if they're like a couple, if they're an actual married couple, sometimes they lack chemistry, and they did not. There was chemistry right away, right out the gate in this movie. You believe Emily Blunt and John Krasinski are a husband and wife and are the parents to these kids.
Yes.
That's another thing that a lot of problems because this isn't a straight up horror movie. This is more of a thriller than it is a horror.
Of a family drama thriller with a horror edge.
Yes, with a horror edge. And a lot of these, even some of the really good horror movies like the Conjuring and stuff, the families feel more like cannon fodder, where you don't really care about them. You just want to you like seeing what happens, and the story's kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
Where this is you feel for this family right out the gate.
Yeah, the way they set this movie up, like at the very beginning, like when after all the movie logos and everything starts, you're dropped into this movie. It's like you could just hear nothing, and it's like, oh my, this is like, it's like just the sound of nothing is terrifying.
Yes. And the cinematography in this, there's one particular, it's amazing cinematography, but the one scene that really got me, even emotionally, and it was just from the camera work, was a scene with John Krasinski and his daughter having a conversation about her hearing aid, and the way that the shot is shot emotionally, and you can feel it. It brings you right into the situation, and it makes you feel so much of what's happening in that scene just from the camera work, and it's amazing. It's a beautifully shot movie. John Krasinski is definitely one of the best directors out there working right now, it seems like. Yeah, just from this movie. And I mean, like I said, go check out The Hollers. It's a really great it's a totally different movie from this, but it's a really great comedy movie.
Yeah, one of my favorite scenes in this movie was at the waterfall.
Oh yes. Oh yeah, with John Krasinski and Noah Jupes. That's their scene together.
Yeah, and I thought the boy sold the panic perfectly. Yes. Like he's sitting there with his dad, and his dad does something. He's like, "What are you doing? Yes, yeah. We are going to die now." Yeah. And he's like trying to reassure him, No, it's okay.
Right,
we can talk here. It's like, and even then they even showed you like, how does this work? And then they filmed it in a way, and it showed you how it worked. It was like, that's genius, because you could just buy anything if a character tells you,
right?
But it helps to see it.
Yeah.
And by us seeing it in that moment, it actually said, "Oh, he's done this before. He knows what he's talking about."
Mm-hmm. But you see, because the movie starts on what, like day 80 something?
Day 89.
Day 89, and then
something happens,
and then we jump to day 430 something.
Yeah, like, so basically we see like 90 days in, something happens. And then we jump to a year later.
Yeah, so you see where
how
much they've learned, and how much
that event changed everything.
Yes, changed everything for them, because it's oh my gosh, the movie's set up so well.
And they set up things early in the movie that you're not paying attention. What's this for? And then when you get there, it's like, oh, that's what that's for.
Right.
Like the crib.
Oh yes, the crib. Yeah, like I said, everything is so well planned out, and you see how important John Krasinski's role as the father
detector of this family is.
Yes, and that's another thing, another element to this movie that carries it out of being just a genre movie. This movie, it I don't know. It's so good, and it's one of those movies you have to watch again and again, and you'll pick up more and more of these little things that was so
like
well
even the sound design in one.
Yes, that yeah.
There was one scene that the sound design was so cool. It was like there was a scene where he's like tinkering with the radio, and she just comes in behind him and like hugs him, and you stand up and she sees she's got like an iPod in her ear, like listening to music through her iPod.
Oh yes.
And then she takes it out of her ear. and then when he puts it in his ear, we're hearing it like at full volume instead of just like at the muffled sound of like they usually do.
Right.
Like it makes sound so much more important. Like we're in this moment with them now.
Yeah, because the way anytime that the camera or the film focuses on a certain character, you're hearing everything basically from their perspective. When it switches to the daughter's perspective in the movie, it's utter silence.
Yeah,
you'll know the difference between silence and quiet.
Yes.
From this movie.
Yeah, quiet is like you can still hear the breeze.
Yes.
Silence is just.
Yeah. So yeah, it's so
like me and him could stop talking right now, and it would not match the silence you would hear when she was on screen.
So yeah, it's if this movie gets nominated for anything, it's got to be sound design.
The sound design was
directing. I mean, and the acting, like I said,
yeah.
This movie needs to make it. I hope this is still in the mention for Oscar considerations at the end of the year.
The Monopoly scene alone made my heart skip a beat.
Yeah,
because it was such a simple thing.
Yeah,
but the fact that it has such dramatic ramifications, and it's like, and even the payoff was a little comedic.
Yeah.
But then it still had that. Oh, but nope, they heard that. They heard it. Yeah.
But there were a few jump scares that were cheap. If I'm nitpicking, there's one like a bloody hand on a window style jump scare that I felt was cheap, but it was forgivable because of everything else around this movie.
Every movie gets one pass on something.
It gets one pass. And then, but even, there's the very end of the movie, something happens that kind of hit me the wrong way, but when I keep looking at it again and again in my head, I think it's an okay. Do you know what I'm talking about with Emily Blunt at the very end of the movie? Yeah, I thought that looked silly in the theater, but I thought about it more and more, and I'm more okay with it now.
I think what that was meant to show you was that for the first time since this happened, they're not afraid.
Yeah, that's kind of that's
a little bit of for the first time they're not hiding, they're fighting back.
Yes, that was a little bit of what I was
like. They they looked at the dry erase board, they looked at each other, they looked at the radio, and then I'm like, oh, yeah. Well, man, looks like it's not gonna be such a quiet place anymore.
But yeah, there's, like I said, the relationship between every single character in this movie's relationship with each other is well developed and is an important element to each other. Like I said, the relationship between the brother and the sister, the relationship between the daughter and the mother, son and the father, and everybody's relationship with each other is important is an important element in this movie. And that's why, like I said, this is 90 minutes, and he was able to establish all of that. It's how well paced and well planned out this movie was.
Mm-hmm.
So, with that being said, like I said, the sound design, cinematography, everything is pitch perfect.
This is like a near perfect movie.
I can't think. Like I said, there are some things that were like I had problems with, but they are just minimal, microscopic. Enough for me to go ahead and just give this a 10 out of 10.
I'm right there with you, 10 out of 10. I enjoyed this movie a lot. I thought it was well done. The trailers advertised the movie exactly. It didn't spoil anything. It had left me on the edge of my seat the whole time.
Yeah.
And I was like, yes, this is what it needs. We need more of this.
Yeah. So to get the full impact of this movie, I recommend going and seeing this movie right away in a theater.
Go blind.
Yes.
If go blind, don't look it up, don't do anything, just watch it as is.
Yep.
And I just thought about it. We're gonna get the exact opposite next week too.
Really?
Truth or Dare.
Oh yeah, Truth or Dare.
That looks interesting though.
It looks interesting. Yeah, it looks like an interesting concept. It's a Blumhouse, which it can go either way with Blumhouse. But.
Yeah, but Blumhouse has gotten better here lately.
Oh yeah.
Like his worst movie was Amityville, but that was more to do with a lot of other things going on around it, more so than the actual movie itself.
But the other thing about back to A Quiet Place.
Mm-hmm.
this isn't necessarily a concept that we're not completely familiar with. If you watched or I think it's about almost 2 years now. Just breathe or don't breathe. Don't breathe.
Yeah.
Don't breathe. That was similar, but this is still. I mean, that was a great movie too. That one I still give a 9.5 out of 10. But this one still, this one takes it another step, and it's just
where Don't Breathe was a house. This is the world.
Yeah, but we're also Don't Breathe. The characters make stupid decisions. This one, they don't make stupid decisions in this movie. Everything is very, very well planned and well. I mean, like I said, this family seems to know
what to do.
And you are just taken along for the ride, which is excellent.
Mm-hmm.
So, like I said, this is one of my favorites of the year now.
Yeah, even going back to what you said about how everything was planned out. Even the scene where the little boy was playing inside of something paid off later in the movie.
Yes. Oh yeah.
I was like, he was like, it looked like he was just like mimicking something, but no. Then you look at it later, it's like he's practicing.
Yeah. And then there's a scene with some fireworks that it took a minute for me to realize that was something that was always planned out for this thing with fireworks.
Yeah, it was meant to be. It's meant to be like a distraction.
Yeah, for the event that occurred.
Yeah.
Which I don't want to spoil what the event is, but it's oh man, it's just a thing with a gas mask too, or I guess it's not really a mask, but it's like a medical gas mask. I didn't know what that was going to be until later on. I saw, oh my gosh, that was even planned out for something.
Yeah, and everything had a point in this movie. There was no. Yeah. This movie does not have a get out of jail free card.
Nope.
This movie was planned out. Even the one thing that winds up turning the tide, it may feel like a get out of jail free card, but at the same time, it was not nothing they were looking for. Yeah. It just was a happy accident.
Yeah. So like I said, like you're going to. There's if you watch this movie and don't somehow feel emotional for the characters in this movie, then I don't know. Something's wrong. I guess
you're dead in here. You're dead in
here. This is one of the first horror movies. Like I said, it's not a full-on horror movie, but the horror thriller movie that you actually can feel something for these characters.
Yeah, you actually when they're in danger, you go, oh no.
And this movie pulls no punches.
Oh no.
There's full on stakes in this movie.
Oh yeah. This is one of those you truly mess up once movies, you're dead scenarios. Yeah.
So
they teach you that lesson early on.
Yeah.
you think it's gonna be one of those. Oh no! He's gonna get, and then it happens. It's like no, not this. Ain't that movie?
Nope. So
it teaches you that lesson.
Nobody is safe in this movie, and you need.
There is no power of the main character.
So yeah, the movie. There's a lot of gut punches in the movie. Is what I'm getting at.
Oh yeah.
And so
your stomach's gonna hurt from all the gut punches.
Yeah.